Good evening, everybody. So yes, today is April 10th, and this is our evening class. I'm going to start out by going over the calendar and reminding everybody when the spring break holiday is. We're going to go over the premise of the story that we're looking at. It's a very riveting story. And then I'm going to introduce something called a storyboard exercise. And it'll be an exercise in using visuals, creating your own visuals to analyze a scene in a story. So it'll be a combination of listening, conversation, lots of different skills at once. And I think if it goes well tonight, I might actually recreate it for tomorrow morning's class. So yes, we'll see. So Doris, you tell me if you like it, and I'll do it all over again tomorrow morning. Maybe make some changes. And then we'll take a break. I'm going to introduce the vocabulary for the second part of the story. A lot of new words in this one that we're reading. And we'll wrap things up with a scene, a complicated scene analysis. And then we will call it a night. So yes, usually I give a midday reminder for everybody. I think that's definitely in order. So yes, Fatima messaged me, are we still having class? And I thought, oh my goodness, everybody needs that midday reminder. So yes, I messaged everybody just a little while ago to remind everybody that it is Monday evening and we have class. So here we are. Okay, so everyone, take a look right now at your, let's see, take a look right now at here we go. Your WhatsApp. Here we go. Resending the academic calendar. Oh, there's Fatima. Okay. So I'm opening up the WhatsApp group right now. All right. Okay. So here we are. It is, I'm going to enlarge this here. Whoop. Okay. It is the month of April 2023. So I'll make it a darker color. All right. We are now at Monday, April 10th. So Boston Public Schools are on spring break from the 17th through the 21st. So next week, we will not have classes. That means if you are missing any assignments since the time, for those of you who just joined a month or 2 months ago, that's, you don't have to go back to the entire semester, but just look at assignments due since you joined us. If you're missing any assignments, this is a great time to go back and finish them, turn them in, or ask if you need help, something you didn't understand. So Ashley and I have, we had a little meeting today. We looked at everybody who has consistently done their work throughout the last few months of the semester, and factoring in that some of you joined a little bit later in the semester. And we made a list of people who we think are college ready and people who we think maybe need a little bit more time with us, who are not quite there yet. So if you notice that you've missed a few assignments and you yourself believe you are college ready and you want to prove to us, hey, I'm there, I can do this. Yes, turn those in, reach out for help, let us know. We got the new volunteer, Miss Isabel Tehan, not Isabel Reyes, different Isabel, who can help you out. Anything that you need, just let us know. Doris, what's your question?
When we see if I miss any assignment, and I can see in the Google Classroom.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely correct. So
I
yeah,
I saw I didn't miss it nothing.
yep. We actually, I mentioned to you earlier today. I mentioned when I was talking with Ashley, we went over each and every one. It was consistently, you were pretty good. I think I only saw 2 throughout the last 4 months that said missing. And I'm going from memory.
Okay.
I'm going from memory. I don't have it in front of me. I can, but yeah, if you want to go over anything here, then yeah. So yes, I think you are in good shape, Doris.
Okay.
Because I remember you were working, you've been working hard since the very beginning. So I don't think you've missed much of anything.
Thank you.
Yes, so Doris, keep doing what you're doing now.
Okay.
Following through. All right. And since I've actually talked, even though you've never met Ashley in person, I've told her about you, like, yeah, she's the really inspirational student from Brockton. She wrote, does this, does that, she's that student. So yes, even though Ashley's never met you, she knows about you.
I would like to go one day, maybe call my sister to bring me when she don't go to the work. Maybe one day. I don't know what time you stay in the El Centro.
Yeah. Because I teach my other class across the hall from Ashley at the same time. That's Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 to 1.
Okay, one day.
Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 to 1. Yeah.
Okay.
And it is wheelchair accessible. You'd want to go in the front door, and then you go into the elevator, and you're good.
Oh, good.
Yes, that would be really nice to see you in person.
Okay, I will.
Yes, fantastic. But for everybody else, I can go over I'll just go over the last few, because I know Johan had some scheduling issues and work issues and all kinds of things. So here they are. All right. So the last, I'll just go over what we did in all of March. Okay. So yeah, right about here, I think it was a month ago, right about this time, we started our evening classes. And this was the last assignment that we had due was the Schaden Facebook assignment in February. Then the Russian pilots in the Congo assignment was that documentary we wrote about. This was Ashley's assignment. Who is your champion? We spent some time with that. International Women's Day assignment due March 10th. This was 2 weeks ago. When eating at your desk is forbidden, the cultural differences of the American and France. And then last week, most recent assignment that was due was following a syllabus. So yes, I'd say if you've been with us for the last month, here's what was due, and take a look. If you've only missed 1 or 2, get it in there. If you need any help, let us know. You can reach out to, I can help you reach out to Isabel Tehan, who has her evenings free. She can help you out any evening this week, all that stuff. So yes, help is there, just ask for help. And later on this week, we'll compile our list of those who are college ready, those who are workforce ready, those who need more time to get ready for one of those. That's it. Any questions for any of us about this stuff? Okay, so we're gonna go into the scene analysis. So this one's not due until April 18th. So It's right, actually, I posted the due date for kind of the end of the vacation. So you've got plenty of time, Well, actually, this is just before we go on break. Today's the 10th. So yeah, so I put the due date really our first day of vacation. So we have plenty of time. We got another week. We went halfway through the story here, and it's a complicated story. And all I said is read and listen to the story, Anna in Somalia. When you are finished, please answer the question on the worksheet attached. And here's a review of everything that we did. So I started out identifying two historical figures. The former dictator of Somalia, Siad Barre, and the Russian writer Leo Tolstoy. The question is, who are these historical figures? How do they relate to this story? Anybody want to explain for folks who might have missed? So the main character, Mohammed Barund, he was thrown in prison by this man. And while in prison, he read a book written by this man. And this book kept Muhammad from losing his mind throughout all the years that he was in solitary confinement, just sitting in a tiny room by himself. So there's the story. You might say this is one of the complicated ways the universe aligns. So a couple of the ways that the story unfolds. We looked at this vocabulary right here, and we looked at words like cultural renaissance, desperate, blindfolded, whisper, sentenced to life. So the man was sentenced to life in solitary confinement. He was desperate. He was losing his mind. And we have two main characters, Muhammad and Ishmahan. Let's take a look at their situation. Muhammad wrote a newsletter criticizing the dictator of the country, really taking a risk. And in breakout rooms, I asked everybody, why did he do it? And I decided to remind everybody to look at the perspective of his wife, Ishmahan. How long had this young couple been married? Who remembers? Bibiana, how long were they together? 10 years, 20 years?
I don't remember exactly how long, but I remember it was a short period of time because they just get married and then he went to jail.
Exactly. It was actually 6 months, half a year. So they're a very young couple. Whoops. They're a very young couple. They're just married, and they were talking about love at first sight. And it was, here's part of the scene analysis right here. Well, actually, not. We'll go over that in a minute. But what the host said was he was in love and he thought that he wanted to share his happiness with the world. And he wrote a letter criticizing the dictator. And he made himself a target. So this is all, you can, what I recommend actually for students who have missed the last couple of classes, watch the recordings of everything. So yes, after class tonight, I'm going to resend the recordings of these last few classes here. So some students said it was admirable criticizing Siad Barre. Other students said it was a bit foolish, a bit naive, just throwing away his life, doing what he did. Regardless, that was last the last class's conversation, regardless of whether he did the right thing or not, he really gave up his freedom, gave up their life together. Why in the world would he do this? I'm going to play a scene from the next part of the story. And in order to see whatever was going on in everyone else's mind, I'm going to do, I think I'm going to try this out, see if it works tonight. In order to see what is going on in everyone else's mind, I'm going to ask everybody to get something to write with, just a pencil and paper, anything to, I should say, draw with. When I say draw, I don't mean draw well. I mean badly. Like, here's the standard I'm looking for. Like here we go. Hi, this is me, and this is a dog. Okay, that's as well as I need you to draw. Okay, it looks nothing like a dog, looks nothing like me. So that's all. So yes, draw about that well. Okay, storyboards are just little stick figures. All right, I'm going to turn on the closed captions to make sure that everybody can see the words coming up. But I'm going to ask everybody to get something to draw with, like a pencil, pen, paper, anything like this. And as you listen, it's 2 minutes of the story. So 2 minutes of the story are happening. And I want you to just listen and then draw what you think is going on. So everybody, and then once you're done, everybody can hold up the drawing to the camera to share what they think is happening and explain. All right. So take a minute, tell me when everybody's got a pen and paper. Tell me when you're ready. I'm going to make sure I've got the captions ready. Here we go. Okay, so the captions are here. You should see the words that I'm saying on the screen right now. All right. Give me a thumbs up emoji when you have, once you've got something to write with, something to draw with. Okay, thank you, Bibiana. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Fatima. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to press play, and you can see I cut the sound to just 2 minutes of the story. Everybody ready? As you listen, draw a scene, what you think is happening. Here we go. Gonna press play now.
Was he going crazy?
I was frightened of going to a certain area in my mind when I would commit suicide without knowing, without wanting to.
Finally, one night, 8 months into this prison sentence, as the guard is passing just out of earshot, an inmate in the next cell whispers to him. He says,
"Learn ABC through the wall. Learn ABC through the wall." I did not understand. Learn ABC through the wall. How can I? I look at the wall between us. So, but then he knocked on the wall.
And when Muhammad leaned over and pressed his ear to the wall, he could hear this sound.
He did this.
A code.
You say, "Yes, I understand now." And he started this A, B, C, D.
Muhammad now had a way to talk and be answered. And the person tapping back was actually a doctor, Dr. Adnan Abakor. He was the director of that hospital that Muhammad had written that letter about, the letter that got them thrown in prison. The doctor said he tried his best to ease Muhammad's suffering.
And I was trying to counsel him and explain to him through the wall that he's not going to go mad and that he's not going to die. But you can't counsel a person through a wall.
2 years into their prison sentence, The doctor is called into the warden's office for his first change of clothes. Somehow, he catches the warden in a generous mood, and the warden lets him take a book back to his cell, a precious commodity in solitary confinement.
It occurred to me the thought that why don't I read this book for him through the wall and distract the negative thoughts?
On the other side of the wall, the next thing Mohammed hears is...
I have a book, and I'll read it to you chapter by chapter. Anna Karenina.
Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina is about 800 pages, 350,000 words, nearly 2.
Okay, that's it. I'll play it again one more time. And everybody start drawing what you think is happening in the story. I'm going to play it one more time.
Was he going crazy?
I was frightened of going to a certain area in my mind when I would commit suicide without knowing, without wanting to.
Finally, one night, 8 months into this prison sentence, as the guard is passing just out of earshot, an inmate in the next cell whispers to him. He says,
Learn ABC through the wall. Learn ABC through the wall. I did not understand. Learn ABC through the wall. How can I? I look at the wall between us. So, but then he knocked on the wall.
And when Mohammed leaned over and pressed his ear to the wall, he could hear this sound.
He did this.
A code.
You say, yes, I understand now. And he started this A, B, C, D.
Mohammed now had a way to talk and be answered. And the person tapping back was actually a doctor, Dr. Adnan Abakor. He was the director of that hospital that Mohammed had written that letter about, the letter that got them thrown in prison. The doctor said he tried his best to ease Mohammed's suffering.
And I was trying to counsel him and explain to him through the wall that he's not going to go mad and that he's not going to die. But you can't counsel a person through a wall.
2 years into their prison sentence, the doctor is called into the warden's office for his first change of clothes. Somehow, he catches the warden in a generous mood, and the warden lets him take a book back to his cell, a precious commodity in solitary confinement.
It occurred to me the thought that why don't I read this book for him through the wall and distract the negative thoughts?
On the other side of the wall, the next thing Mohammed hears is...
I have a book, and I'll read it to you chapter by chapter. Anna Karenina.
Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina is about 800 pages, 350,000 words, nearly 2.
Okay. Give everybody just another moment, and then we'll share one by one. And I'll be first. So I'll make sure that my drawing is the worst so that everybody feels better, okay? There's my drawing, okay? There's Mohammed here, and there's the doctor here. That's it. That's what we know, okay?
I do the same, teacher.
Okay, so you feel better? You feel better? You can't do it any worse than what I did, okay? All right, perfect. All right, everybody, take a look at, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now so that we can, so everybody who shares has full attention, okay? So yes, the way I drew a picture right here, this is one of my students in 6A. I borrowed their hands. I said, would you hold up this to the screen so I could show my 6B students what I'm gonna ask them to do tonight? He said, sure. So hold your drawing up to the screen just like that. If anybody knows Cesar Augusto, these are his hands. He's a student in 6A. All right. Thank you, Cesar, for your hands. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. All right. So, Doris, you've got your camera on first. Would you like to be the first to share?
Yes, I made the, I don't know where.
Oh, that's way better than mine.
The
Look at that.
calendar and the doctor, the ABC on the draw, and
Wait, did you make it like a little doctor's outfit for him?
yes,
Oh, wow. Can you show us that again?
the moon and the sun,
Oh, wow.
and the calendar, 2 years past.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
Tell us more. That's interesting. That's a great tool. A great tool. So yes, these two guys have been locked in their rooms. Can you imagine like sitting in your bathroom in your apartment for 2 years?
yeah.
It's basically what these guys are doing. And yeah.
I make the song when he tried to learn ABC. I put talk talk, the noise when you you throw in the door or something.
Nice. Nice. All right. Doris, you can choose who's next. So whoever's next, just turn your camera on and show us the picture. Who's next?
Viviana.
Viviana, take it away.
Hello, thank you, Doris. Okay. I try. I don't know if you can see.
I can
So
see
it is sitting.
a little
He's
fuzzy. But
sitting.
yeah. Oh, he's sleeping. Okay. He looks kind of like a dinosaur.
No.
Oh,
Wait,
okay. Yeah.
wait.
Just
I
kidding.
can.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. Got it. Yeah.
I'm going to go inside with a pen because I did it with a
I'm
with a
sorry. I
pen.
shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe that's why you can see.
All right. It's fine. Tell us when you're ready.
Almost. Okay. Right now, okay.
Okay. Oh, wow. Lots of detail there. Nice.
Yeah, he's sitting in front of the wall. And the little lines, it means like someone is knocking the wall. And the letters, it says Ana Karenina, but I think you can't see it very well.
And I love how you put the ABCs around it.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Now, you know what I just realized, for anyone who missed the last class, why are they not, who could tell us why the doctor just doesn't read it aloud, the words? Why doesn't he just read the book aloud?
Because it is forbidden to talk between them.
Yes. So excellent use of the vocabulary word. So yes, the prisoners were in solitary confinement. That means they're by themselves, side by side, and the guards walk up and down, and they'll be punished if they see talking. So they had this secret language, just knocking and ABC. And this is one of the most extreme situations of English as a lingua franca. These two guys speaking their language, their local language, but just learns a few words in English. ABC, A, 1 knock, B, 2 knocks, C, 3 knocks, like knocking to spell one word all day long. And that's what these guys are doing to communicate with each other. Nice work, Bibiana. You have choices. Who's next? Johan, Fatima, Isabel?
Johan, because is the new one around.
Okay. He's actually been here a little bit longer than you, but he's just disappeared and come back. Welcome back, Johan.
Give me 1 minute, please.
Oh, we're very excited. We're very, very excited. Now, for something interesting in this, the doctor picked the biggest book he could find. Why would he do that? Who goes into the library and says, that's the biggest book I can find? Yep, I'm going to read the whole thing.
Because he needs more Don't know what time he stay in the prison. That's why he needs to don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
just one book, but the big one.
yeah. Both of these guys have been sentenced to life, and they're just sitting in this one tiny room, a little bit of light from the sun. That's
Yeah.
it. That's their life. Yeah. I'd go crazy. I don't know about you.
I
Yeah.
know.
But how the doctor was able to have the book? Was he in
Ah,
prison too?
well, that was actually explained. What I'm going to do after everybody shares is I'm going to go over the transcript so we can read it as well, word by word. You ready to go, Johan? It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, mine was the worst.
Yes, I have a little drawing here.
Okay, just turn your
Maybe.
camera on. Show us what you got.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
This
Oh,
is
wow,
little-
you're pretty talented.
This
Wow,
is tiny room.
you're
for-
good at this, Johan. You're really
in
good.
the- I'm sorry, I am not the best.
It looks a
drawing.
little bit. They look a little bit like South Park characters, actually. Nice.
Like a crazy characters. Like
I like it.
when I knock knock, here the
Mhm.
every letter or I don't know. Like
Yeah. Cool. Well, tell us what's happening. What is your interpretation of what this was what was going on here?
yeah, this is the when they were in the prison, when the knock knock is
Mhm.
like a code for everyone to hear about the history.
Yeah.
The Anna Karenina, the book, like 800 letters or something.
Pages.
Oh,
Pages.
pages. Yeah. So this is like
800 letters. That's like
a
maybe one page.
and like when I knock knock is like a Morse code.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So this is my interpretation. It's a basic interpretation, but it's good.
Very nice.
Not too bad.
Pretty good. Okay, Johan, show us who's next. You can choose Isabel, Fatima, or oh, Isabel or Fatima. Smaller class tonight.
Actually, I didn't do a lot because I miss a lot of class, but I will show you now.
And
Don't.
Ramadan is happening in the background.
Yes.
You turn your camera on, we're going to see a big dinner party, right?
Yes, teacher, talk to me after Ramadan.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let me show you.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Don't laugh.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, what's the what is, is that a window?
Yeah, a window,
Okay.
just a small window, and I do the sun because maybe because I didn't finish the story yet. Maybe in the end of story it's gonna be something good.
Okay.
Then I put like he's thinking a lot, like a lot of stuff around his mind. Then he said, "That's what I understand." Sorry, teacher.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So he's thinking. All right. And then Isabel, show us what you got.
I can get the idea, but I think is two people talk about the cell phone, but I can get very well the idea
Okay.
about the contest.
All right. So good job, everybody. Good job. Now let's fill in the blanks. What exactly is happening in this story? I'm going to show you the transcript right now. So the way to view the transcript is I embedded it right here in Google Classroom. You click that, and then instead of playing it from that particular scene, I'll actually should have put the timestamp on there. It's right about here.
It was taken away, even our glass.
Right about here.
Something new to wear. And you don't choose anything else.
Read. But when he
Bed sheet, and I put it around.
Memoir by Luan. Everything.
marked a
This is very
choose your next whole year,
losing their sanity
writing the letter that got them both
to bed and making you fall asleep, you know.
writing these
Everybody starts knocking on the wall, because
that his mind was slipping.
you are frightened of that.
Here we go. So I'm going to find exactly right about, yeah, it was about 1240. So what we looked at last time was, it was 1981. It was under communist rule, but the dictator was a big fan of music. So Somalia was going through a cultural renaissance. However, criticizing the dictator could land you in jail. And there they were. He wrote a newsletter criticizing the dictator, and Ishmahan had no idea where he was taken. He was blindfolded, taken away, locked in a cell in the middle of the night. He's going crazy. It's dark. There's cockroaches coming out of the toilet. That is his life. And he hears mosquitoes buzzing. So as it gets worse and worse and worse, he can sense that his mind is disappearing. And he's going to a dark place that he's never going to come back from. And the doctor essentially keeps him from disappearing into that dark place in his mind. So here it is. The doctor says, tap through the wall, learn ABC. And for about 2 years, they have small conversations side by side. So there it is. A, 1 tap, B, 2 taps. And that's how these two communicate for about 2 years. Now, here's the answer to Ashley's question. Why would the doctor be able to bring a big book in? Here it is.
We started practicing it the whole day and the whole night. And if there is a joke and somebody laughs, everybody starts knocking on the wall and asking that friend, what's that joke about?
About some of the more dramatic aspects. I'll tell you that Dr. Aden and Mohammed were actually friends before visiting you. To choose to divorce her, he can't sleep. He turns again to the concrete. When Mohammed leaned over to the wall,
And it means, how are you also? Yeah.
and so Mohammed can now spend most of a day tapping back and forth to talk with the guy in the next cell about can't sleep. He turns
So fast. So I was thinking those days that this is the smell of death.
What is the smell of death? About his wife.
I could not imagine how she is, because there are no news from husbands.
The government moved to choose to divorce her husband if the husband's asked.
All between us. So, but then he knocked on the wall. He did this and that. And it means, how are you?
Sweaty and in a panic.
I lost my sleep.
Mohammed had a lot of fearful thoughts in that
Husbands.
The government was saying you should divorce.
Yes, because they are traitors.
What is the smell of death? When Mohammed leaned over to the wall,
Give them time. It's another world.
Experiencing the
girl, as always,
All concrete.
Sorry for the delay. I forgot to put the timestamp in here. This is what I'm going to make sure I have ready for tomorrow morning. The timestamp, the exact timestamp here.
and what was the first sentence that you heard?
So Nabat, which means peace in Somali, and it means, how are you also? Yeah.
And so Mohammed can now spend most of a day sweaty and in a panic.
I lost my sleep.
Are you awake? He tapped.
I can't sleep.
I need to talk.
When I try to sleep, when I'm falling asleep, suddenly my heart races so fast. So I was thinking those days that this is the smell of death.
About his wife.
I could not imagine how some sheikhs found
To pressure the wives of political. Feeling comes back, strong, visiting you. that Muhammad tapped one of these dark thoughts on.
When the government decided that to ban it,
Why books?
books is the best friend in a prison, and start conversation, so that he can fall asleep again. Just like a baby, taking a baby to bed and making him fall asleep,
If Dr. Aden seems fairly unsentimental about some of the more dramatic aspects of Muhammad's life,
Just like a baby,
it's partly that these two men are such different personalities.
most exciting day in our life.
Every cell to the next cell to the next. There were 8 of them in this prison.
They would commit suicide without knowing, without.
There it is. Sorry for the delay, everybody. It took me a while. Okay, so here it is, here it is, here it is. All right. So Dr. Aden. All right, so there it is. Dr. Aden says, keeping his mind together, it's like putting a baby to sleep. Okay, here we go. Now, the guards, of course, don't know that we are knocking on the wall because they can't hear. And then when they see us all laughing, they just say, oh, these guys are losing their sanity. Meanwhile, on the other side of the wall, Muhammad was worried about his mind slipping. So here it is. I was frightened of going to a certain area in my mind. So that's where the fragment began. So the timestamp I should have put there was 1327. I'm actually going to do that right there. Timestamp 1327. Just so I remember. 1327. Here we go. Okay, everybody. Well, we'll take a break in a minute, but we'll see what, and we'll come back after this. Here it is. We're gonna read and listen to this section.
Wanting to.
Is it almost like the fear of going crazy was making you crazy?
Yes, the fear. The fear was, you could imagine people who were crazy, and you could imagine that maybe going crazy was the point of no return. So you were frightened of that.
While the doctor on his side of the wall.
And I was trying to counsel him and explain to him through the wall that he's not going to go mad and that he's not going to die. But you can't counsel a person through a wall.
Months go by, then a whole year. Finally, it's 2 years into their prison sentence, and something happens. Dr. Aden is summoned to the office of the warden to get a change of clothes.
Okay, so Ashley, are you here? I'm sorry, Bibiana, you here?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh no, here's the answer to your question right here. Why did the warden let the doctor take a book in? Here it is.
The room was empty and there was a bench, and they asked you to sit on the bench. And then he asked one of the guards to go and bring your bag.
Just the whole bag with all your clothes, your books, everything.
Yeah.
So after a whole year, the doctor gets a change of clothes. Can you imagine never changing your clothes for a whole year?
And then you open that bag, and then he tells you to choose something new to wear. And you don't choose anything else.
He says, don't choose anything else.
No, that was the regulations.
The doctor's getting his first change of clothes since he arrived in prison. And so then you showed back 2 years later to choose your next t-shirt.
Yes.
But then the doctor turns to the warden. He looks him right in the eye.
Can I have one book? I said, that's all. Even I did not expect that he would agree to give me. So I just tried, And he said, yes, you can, but choose one of your books. So then I started thinking of the biggest book I can take with me.
A few minutes later, the doctor is walking back to his cell with the fattest book in his bag under his arm. You can picture him fantasizing about just getting to lie down and read. But when he returns to his cell, there's that sound at the wall.
It occurred to me the thought that, why don't I read this book for him through the wall and distract the negative thoughts?
Meanwhile, Muhammad, on his side of the wall, hears a new set of taps.
I have a book, and I'll read it to you chapter by chapter. That's Anna Karenina.
Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina, the famous novel by Leo Tolstoy, published in 1878. The English translation that they're using is 800 pages, 350,000 words, nearly 2 million letters. Each letter, a set of taps. So the doctor prepares himself.
So to start, I took a piece of my bed sheet and I put it around my wrist.
Like,
So I'm going to pause it right here. The doctor is essentially getting to work, as his job is to heal people. And he realizes that his neighbor is losing his mind, and he's going to tap this entire book, letter by letter, against the wall. So I'm going to stop right here and go back to another question. So this doctor, he decides to tap the entire book to Muhammad. Now, last class, I asked everybody, if Muhammad didn't publish the newsletter criticizing the government and the condition of the local hospitals, he would not have gone to prison. Well, what about the doctor himself? The doctor originally was asking for donations from well-to-do, that means successful members of their community in Mogadishu. That's the capital city of Somalia. So Muhammad had a pretty good job. So people who had good jobs were asked to donate to get bedding and medicine for the hospitals that the dictator had cut supplies for. The doctor wanted this to happen quietly, very quietly. But Muhammad was the one who printed a newsletter saying all these terrible things about the leader of the country and getting everybody thrown in prison. Now they're in prison. Why isn't this doctor angry at Muhammad? That's what I want to know. He made a lot of noise. He drew attention to himself about this problem. The doctor, the older guy, he wanted to do this very quietly. Get the hospitals working, get them their medicine and their bed sheets and all the things they needed to do their jobs at the hospital and go on about their business. But Muhammad decided to make a lot of noise and get himself and a lot of other people probably thrown into prison. Why is this doctor helping him? Why doesn't the doctor just sit there and let this young man go crazy? Instead, he's taking the energy to tap letter by letter this long book to make sure this guy he doesn't really know that well doesn't go crazy. Why is he doing this? Any thoughts? So essentially, why is the doctor helping him?
Okay, I think maybe the doctor saw him like a smart guy more than crazy. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. The doctor thinks he's smart, thinks he's not crazy. All right.
Or maybe because he's a doctor, he feels like this necessity to heal someone, to help someone else.
Interesting. Interesting. Good ideas. Think on it for a moment. I'm going to write the question on a slide. And when we come back, once we come back, I will ask everybody to, we're going to look at the next part of the story, and then we'll have some small discussions to see why exactly this doctor is helping Muhammad. Why? All right. Everybody, we'll take a 10-minute break right now.
More break.
We're back. We're back, everybody. That's it. Okay. Thank you, Doris. Okay. So I got a few things ready. So yes, before I do that storyboard exercise again, I'm going to remember to put the time stamp on there so I can find that section easily. All right. Okay, so tomorrow morning, this is the first question I'll ask everybody. And here's the next. Okay. All right. So this is what we just looked at. I took a screenshot of the story. Okay. So here's the doctor, Abacor. That's his name. I have a book, and I'll read it to you chapter by chapter. It's Anna Karenina. And it is 800 pages, 350,000 words, nearly 2 million letters. Each letter is a set of taps. So the doctor prepares himself. And then the doctor says, so if he's going to be tapping his hand against this brick wall millions of times, he needs to protect his hand. So he wraps a bed sheet around his hand. And he says, so I wrap a bed sheet and I put it around my wrist. And then Greg, the host says, like he's preparing for a medical procedure, wrapping the sheet around his wrist and his knuckle. Why is the doctor going to all this trouble? Why would he do this to help his neighbor? What's the point? Johan and Bibiana started to give a few guesses, but I'm going to send everybody to 2 quick breakout rooms to discuss this further. Why would the doctor do this? Let's see. Yes, 2 breakout rooms. Here we go. Why is the doctor helping Muhammad? Okay. All right. That's the question. Oh, and I made the slide so everybody can understand. So there it is. So why does Dr. What's his name? Not Adin. Abakor, I'll change his name later. Help Muhammad. Muhammad could have quietly helped. So here's the question. Muhammad could have quietly helped raise money for the hospital, but instead he wrote a newsletter criticizing the leader of the country, and many people were sent to prison. So theoretically, this doctor could be angry at Muhammad, but he's not. He doesn't seem to express that at all. Instead, he takes a big risk trying to help him, and I'm trying to figure out why. So that's the question I'd like everybody to explore in breakout rooms. Why would this doctor help him? Okay. All right. You can join your breakout rooms now. Why is the doctor helping Muhammad? Okay, you can join your breakout rooms. Go for it.
his first change of clothes since he arrived in
Going to go mad and that he's not going
to be without knowing, without.
He learned lots and lots of books.
Huh?
Why books?
Books is the best friend in a prison.
Described one dark thoughts on. But wait, she can't visit me.
Nobody can visit this prison, nobody, and I have wives.
But there are these Quranic verses.
Because they are really in my heart races so fast. So I was thinking those days that this is the smell of death.
What is the smell of death?
I think it's fear.
Muhammad had a lot of fearful thoughts in that prison cell, especially about his wife.
I could not imagine how she is, because there are no news from the world, from the outside world. It's really difficult to imagine where she is, even whether she is alive.
And there was a meaner thought as well.
Okay. So the last vocabulary word was on the left column, sentence to life. So these guys were sentenced to life. And we have a few new vocab words. Everybody can follow me with the pronunciation. Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go.
Exclusive.
Follow me.
Exclusive.
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 Quranic
Exclusive.
verses.
Quranic
Quranic
verses.
verses.
Sheikh.
Shaky. Shaky.
Sheiks.
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 Diagnosing.
Diagnosing.
Unsentimental.
Unsentimental.
All right. Yes. So for these words, let's see, exclusive. This is probably the easiest. Who knows what the word exclusive means?
Like unique.
Yeah, exclusive. It means like privileged.
Privilege. Yeah.
Privileged. Sheiks. That's a little bit later in the story. Does anybody know what the word means?
Sheiks.
It's a tribal leader.
Tribal leader.
Tribal leader. It's like the word chief. So
Oh,
in
okay.
in many parts of Africa,
I
you
know.
have a country, and the country doesn't mean a whole much in terms of personal identity, because all the borders of every country in Africa were drawn by foreigners, by Europeans after the Berlin Conference. So people are much more closely aligned with their tribal identity. So you can have an elected government, interacting with different countries, but the real leader of each community is the leader of the tribe, and the word for that is the sheik. Diagnosing.
When you have something, doctor say you have this.
It's like a,
Exactly.
yeah, it's like a result about sickness or something.
Yeah. To diagnose is to determine the condition of the patient.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the doctor was diagnosing Muhammad through the wall.
Yeah.
Unsentimental.
Is
It's
it
like
a
a
stay there?
like
Say
a
it again?
bad bitch.
Stay there.
Well, when they interviewed the doctor, he just kind of he spoke about Muhammad. He didn't have a lot of warm feelings about Muhammad. He says, this guy's going crazy, and I tried to counsel him through the wall, and it was like putting a baby to sleep. So he's speaking about Muhammad in a very unsentimental way, just kind of like, this guy was losing his mind. I tried to make him feel better.
Yeah.
You could tell there's mixed feelings in the interview. The doctor doesn't have a lot of warm feelings for Muhammad. He doesn't go exactly explain why. He doesn't have mean thoughts about Muhammad. He doesn't hate him, or he doesn't appear to hate him. He doesn't let that known, but he's very unsentimental. It's kind of like these guys.
No feeling. No.
Say it again, Doris.
When you don't have no feeling, no.
Right. A lot of times people who survive horrible situations when they leave the situation, they don't want to talk about it at all, and they have no desire to relive it or talk to the people who experienced it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like
Yes.
they're done. They're moving on with their lives, and they have. I don't think the doctor is going to call Muhammad and tell him he's not going to send him a message on Instagram to say happy birthday anytime soon.
Teacher, I know this feeling.
Yeah.
Really, really, yes. Because that's happened to me one day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell there's some.
Yeah. Like last summer, last summer, it was like a bad situation. Like I was star of depression and desire
Yep.
and the panic attack. It was terrible. After when I feel better till now, when I heard someone he's talking about it, I want to close my ears because it's so hard. Yeah, till now I didn't know. I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. I went to the therapy. I talk with a lot of people about it, but when I feel better, I don't wanna. It's a memorize to talk. Yeah, so hard. I know this feeling.
That's kind of the way this doctor is regarding
Yeah.
spending that time up against the wall with Muhammad. Like years and years, he's got to share the other side of the wall with this guy, tapping.
Wow.
But still, we'll talk. I mean, the doctor decided to help him nonetheless. We'll get into that in a minute. But Fatima, here's the word that I wanted your help explaining. Who can guess what this means?
Quranic verses.
Yes, I want to say first, can anybody guess what this, it's a phrase really, Quranic verses. Anybody want to guess? And then Fatima will have the answer. She will show you the answer. Bibiana, Isabel, Johan, Quranic verses.
No idea. Sorry.
No idea. Okay, I'm gonna put it in context with all of your cultures. You've probably heard of this, right?
Bible.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I know.
So what's that?
And who is Quranic teacher?
Okay, time for Fatima. Show us. Show us, Fatima.
It's a book for my religion.
Wait, you can turn your camera on. She's got it right there.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's that one.
There it is.
It is saying the Bible.
It actually is the same. We close. We have the same religion, just a kind of difference. It's the same, yeah.
The book of the Old Testament is really similar. The book of Abraham is really similar. So some of the call it the new version of the Bible.
Yes, yeah, because
a little bit later.
Yeah.
So like say similar ideas. It's called and I remember my world religions professor in college gave me this ethical monotheism. So ethical monotheism. If you look at the book of Abraham, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran kind of overlap, but then the other stories, they become quite different. But monotheism means singular God. So it's like older religions have multiple gods, like Hinduism, or no gods at all, like Buddhism. But the newer religions, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, I'm losing my words. What's the other one? Christianity and Islam. It's just like this idea of one God. So that's what they all have in common. But anyway, the word verses, it means pieces of scripture, the writing.
Yes.
And here are the Quranic verses. So the way
Quranic verse, Quran.
Oh, you're muted. Wait, we lost Fatima. You muted yourself, Fatima.
Oh,
Oh, there
sorry.
she is.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yeah, it's a chapter. There is let me see. It's like a Quranic verses based on the variation of the word true. I don't know. It's the meaning of the word, because I don't wanna I don't know the definition with English. That's why. Yeah, right?
So,
Something you have it in your book, right? Like sentence or something like that.
yeah,
Expression?
lines of text.
Okay.
Lines of text. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Exactly. So the phrase Quranic verses is going to come up towards the end of class. And the government in Somalia is going to reference Quranic verses and put a lot of pressure on the wives of all these men that are in prison, particularly Ishmahan. Ishmahan is going to be put in under a lot of pressure because her husband is in prison. And the government will use Quranic verses to kind of make it worse.
Yes.
That's what's about to happen in the story.
Mhm.
So, yep. Let's take a look at the question I gave everybody. Here we go. So, why does, let me spell the guy's name right. I was spelling his name wrong. Hold on a second. Why does this doctor help Muhammad? It's Dr. Where's his name?
Sound.
Oh, here we go. Dr. hold on. Abakor, that's his name. So the question was, Dr. Abakor, why does Dr. Abakor help Muhammad? He could have, had a lot of, terrible thoughts about him, but instead he really helps this guy, not go crazy. Anybody? Doris, Bibiana, no, tell us, Fatima.
He believe him. He believe what he's saying. He believe he doesn't do nothing. Maybe.
Okay, he thinks he's innocent. All right. Bibiana had some interesting thoughts in her breakout room with Johan. Bibiana, you want to share?
I think
Well, I just think that he was a good person. He feel the necessity of help someone else.
Okay.
and I think he
He's a good guy. He's like, this guy needs my help. I got to help him. Okay.
Exactly. That's the first rule, I think, of someone who study medicine. It's like you need to help people no matter what.
yeah.
Okay.
And the doctor trying to find a easy way then Muhammad needs in the prison to stay how long he stay, but he needs to think not to being crazy in that situation. That's why the doctor helped him.
There's actually a professional concept for what both Doris and Bibiana are talking about. It's a Greek word, the Hippocratic Oath. Doctors in most cultures take some type of oath when they become doctors. And part of that is essentially doing your best to help patients, putting the patients first, that sort of thing. Essentially, of course, doctors are human beings. They're not going to necessarily like all their patients, but it's still their job to help them. I think teachers probably, deep down, guess what? We don't like all their students.
Exactly.
Sometimes we pretend we really like everybody, but sometimes we don't like all of our students. Not you. Everyone here's perfect.
Your job.
But,
you need to do your job.
But it's still, we have to do our job. Our job is to teach. So lawyers could be another example. Lawyers you might become a lawyer and you might have to defend somebody who committed some horrible crime, but your job is your job. The end.
My first when I start to the university, I'm going to study lawyer, but I didn't finish because I can't. When I go to the to judgment people, I say I can.
Okay.
That's why I finished. I studied 1 year and 6 months, and I didn't finish.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Have you ever thought of this job?
I can read because
Be a
the
paralegal?
paralegal. Yes,
Your language skills would actually come in handy. You
yes.
don't have to study that long to become a paralegal.
Oh, okay.
It's like an assistant. It's like if I need some court papers filed and I don't know how to do it myself, but I don't have quite
Okay.
enough money to hire a real lawyer, a
Right.
paralegal, it's like an in-between.
Oh, okay. Right. I don't know if I can
Yeah,
now.
it's something to look into. It's a decent job. Let's see,
I work in
or
the,
court interpreter with your
work in-
Portuguese skills. You could be a court interpreter.
I work in the prison too in my country.
In Cape Verde or
Cape
oh
Verde.
wow.
Cape Verde for I do when people I try to help the people to do her papers in the court
Mm.
and trying to see how long he stay in the prison and trying when he comes out to find a job and help to see family. That's my job in.
I think you should definitely look into becoming a paralegal. Definitely. You don't have to go to school forever to do that.
Yes.
But anyway, so Bibiana, Doris, we're saying this doctor is a doctor. It's his job, it's his purpose, it's his role. He might not have a lot of nice things to say about Muhammad for being impulsive and writing that letter and making himself a target of the government, but it's his job. He sees this man needs help, he's got to help him. Any other ideas? Why is this doctor helping Muhammad?
Because he's anyways he's a doctor, but he see the truth in the his story about Muhammad. That's why he can involve, but he see the Muhammad is not the bad guy when
Okay, yeah, he sees Muhammad is just he could be, let's say he's an impulsive young man,
Yeah.
he's 20 something and he had just fallen in love. He thought, he saw the world a bit more hopeful than he,
yes.
When you're in love, you it's like you do crazy things. He's like, the world is a beautiful place. Yes, everybody should be happy. I'm going to write a letter and say terrible things about a military dictator and get myself thrown in prison for the rest of my life. Good job, Muhammad. Nice work. Okay. Well, now you're in prison for the rest of your life. Mission accomplished. So
Have a fear, free. You don't have a fear when you fall in love. You can do everything.
Exactly. But so as tragic as this story appears, let's go back to Ishmahan. This young lady, she had a bright future. She had a decent job. She was very well educated. She was working at a bank, and she married Muhammad, who also seemed to be, a winner. He had a great job managing this Pepsi plant, which was in this time and place a great job. They could have been living well together. Just keep their mouths shut with their political opinions, and they could have, lived a decent life together. But of course, her life changed. A lot of these women were put under a lot of political pressure. The government didn't lock up the women, just the men. But suddenly, the government starts pressuring all of these women to divorce their husbands. And there's a complicated process because of Sharia law, which is like a Muslim code of conduct, is that the woman is supposed to get the permission to get a divorce from the man, which is like a get in Judaism. But there's another problem. If Ishmahan decided, you know what, this guy decides to get himself thrown in prison, I'm going to divorce him. How is she supposed to find him to tell him she's going to get a divorce? She's like, listen, we had fun. It was nice knowing you for 6 months. You're an idiot. I'm leaving you. She doesn't know where he is. How can she find him? They never told her where she is. She doesn't know if he's alive, if he's dead. She has no idea. What is she supposed to do? So let's take a look at Ishmahan's story. And I put a time code at the timestamp right about here. Ah, yes, here we go. Nope. Oh, yes, there it is. So here's Muhammad and Ishmahan. And by the way, these are all real people. This is not fiction. You could say it's stranger than fiction. All right. So early in their marriage, Muhammad is sent to prison and Ishmahan doesn't know what happens to him. What will they do? I want to hear from everybody. What should she do? Should she just find somebody else, move on with her life, forget he existed? Should she start a campaign? Free Muhammad, get my husband out of there?
No.
What should she do in this situation? I want to hear what everybody thinks. Move on, forget he ever existed. Sit around and cry for the rest of her life. What?
She's trying to find a way to help him to see I didn't hear the story in the end, but I tried to think if I'm where's his name? Ishmahan. What I do? Trying to find a good way to help him because he don't know what she made because is a prison about the dictator. There's a lot of complicated in that situation because she needs to find people who he can trust, and because you can talk to every people because you don't know who you can trust, and she needs to be careful to share information and to try to find a way to help him.
Okay, so Doris
Because
is thinking of finding a way.
Because
Yes.
probably make in the dangers too, because when she go a wrong way, maybe she feels dangerous too.
I think maybe she's gonna be like she's gonna help him. She's gonna start fighting about him. Maybe she's gonna go like to TV or with journalists. She's gonna do interview or something like that. Maybe just I'm thinking because I didn't read the story.
Okay.
Maybe she's gonna help him to go out. Maybe.
She's gonna get him out.
Yeah, maybe.
Prison break. Prison break in Somalia. Okay.
I think she needs to know if he stay, what kind of prison, and
Yes.
trying to go to the right people to know about the situation about him.
Okay.
And find a way.
So here's I'm going to actually begin tomorrow morning's class looking at this because it's complicated. We've looked at Muhammad and the doctor, but what about what's going on with Ishmahan? What should Ishmahan do? Let's start thinking about her situation here. I'm going to ask for a volunteer reader.
Okay. I can.
Okay, good, Doris, go ahead.
Teacher, I can because I have the prescription the transcripts in my recording in the front.
Oh, okay.
Can I?
Yeah,
You want me
sure,
to
go
read?
for it. Go for it, Fatima.
Sorry, you're gonna hear a lot of noise. Muhammad had a lot of fearful thoughts in the prison cell, especially about his wife. I could not imagine how she is because there are no news from the world, from the outside world. It's really difficult to imagine where she is, even whether she is alive. And there was a minor thought as well. The government was encouraging wives to divorce their husbands. The government was saying you should divorce. Yes, because they are traitors. They are these people who are in prison. Even some sharifs found Quranic verses to support them. Divorce in Somali society in Islam is usually the husband exclusive rights, but there are these Quranic verses that can allow a wife to choose to divorce her husband if the husband absent for some time, and sheikhs loyal to the dictator as those verses to pressure the wives of political prisoner. What's that? Prisoners.
Yep, political prisoners. So here's all this. We're gonna do this. There's a lot of the new vocabulary here, and we're going to review this tomorrow morning. So don't worry if you don't understand it all tonight. So here's a crazy situation. So government locks up all these men, doesn't tell their families where they are, and then puts the families in this impossible situation. They don't know if the men are alive. They don't know if the men are dead. And all of a sudden, they say, you know what? Your husbands are all traitors. Divorce your husbands. Well, how are they supposed to divorce them if they can't find them to get their divorce?
Yes.
Well, tribal leaders figured something out. They made this kind of bizarre, twisted interpretation of the Quran. It says right here, if they're gone for a long time, you can get a divorce without their permission. Well, guess why they're gone for a long time? Because the government locked them up. So this being said, and then we have sheiks, essentially, they found tribal leaders to tell these women, go on and get the divorce.
Yes.
Without their problem, doesn't matter if they're alive, doesn't matter if they're dead. So imagine the social pressure that Ismahan is under in this crazy situation. He's gone, he's gone for years at this point, and the government wants these men forgotten about, like they've never existed. And then all these women are told, just divorce them. And they get the tribal leaders, the sheiks, to say, here's 1 or 2 lines in the Quran that says it's okay. Just do it. Get your divorce. Pretend these men never existed. What should Ismahan do at this point?
The first point, I think, why they force them to divorce for now look for the husband, because if she's still married with Muhammad, she's gonna go to the other. She has the right to look for him. Maybe that's why they force them to divorce. Just I wanna add that.
Kind of a crazy situation there.
Yes.
And imagine that, and the power that this dictator has over people's lives.
Wow.
Let's hear from some other people.
Never forget.
There's all this pressure that Ismahan is under right now. Faride, Johan, Isabel, Bibiana, what should Ismahan do? I want to hear from everybody. We got only a few minutes left of class. What should Ismahan do? Divorce him. Government says divorce him. Move on. The end. He never existed. He's gone. He's locked in a hole to die. Divorce him, pretend he never existed, or stay married to him and live in shame.
I think it is a hard situation,
Mhm.
but I think the best thing to do is try to help him out. Probably that's, I don't know, the first thing that she should try to do. And at the end, if it is impossible or it means danger for her, then maybe she can find a way to, I don't know, go to another country or something like that. But I think the first thing is try to help him.
Mm. That's an interesting concept. Would she be in a better position to help him from another country?
No, I think it's easy if she's there next to him. It's easier than go to another country and try to ask for help outside, because I don't think another countries are going to involve in something like that, or I don't really know.
Come to Boston, take classes at El Centro, write a story about, okay. Anybody else? What should she do? Don't worry if you don't have an answer right now. I'm going to begin tomorrow morning with this question, because the crazy situation that Ishmahan is in. Now, while Muhammad's mind is drifting into these dark thoughts, he's actually feeling a lot of anger, and he starts imagining really kind of he starts imagining things about Ishmahan, and he starts to be angry. Why isn't she here? Why doesn't she come to visit me? He's imagining that she's somehow ignoring him, neglecting him. And this is where his mind is going. And the doctor kind of brings him back with this book. And the book itself, towards the end, starts to help Muhammad take a bigger perspective and recognize that Ishmahan throughout this whole process is suffering a great deal. But that's kind of a spoiler for the end of the story. So here is, let's see, we got the timestamp right there. That was 8:37. So 8 minutes and 37 seconds into it. Okay, all right. All right, I'm gonna end it right there, but that's pretty much the story. So imagine these 2 years, Muhammad is going crazy on the inside. Ishmahan is getting all this political and social pressure on the outside. Divorce him, forget he ever existed. She's being shamed for being married to this political prisoner. And then while Muhammad is losing his mind, this doctor is making sure he stays focused. Every time he awakes from this horrible nightmare, the doctor taps and tells him everything is going to be okay. And it's like almost like the father putting the baby back to sleep. These two grown men, one older, one younger. That's it. Everybody get some sleep. So
Thank you.
yeah. So yeah, you can, I guess, tap each other on WhatsApp if you have a nightmare. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.